Welcome to this episode of Working Moms Academy's YouTube channel. I am very privileged today to have Miss Carla Perlas. She is the SVP of Content of the AsianParent.com, managing the web and app content across Southeast Asia. Well, first, I would like to thank you, Miss Carla. Thank you very, very much for saying yes to this. I was very excited to really see you.
Thanks, Coach Wanda, for inviting me.
It is actually an honor. And I would like to jump already to the first question because the Working Moms Academy are featuring both successful entrepreneur and also mothers at the corporate. I mean, your SVP content for Southeast Asia. So that tells a lot more of, wow, you're really managing something big. And that even makes me more proud as a Filipino. Like, wow, she's in Philippines, but see how much she's managing. And Asian Parent is a very big, influencer in terms of, the market reach. And can you just tell me first, what is your favorite part about working?
My favorite part about working in general or working at the AsianParent?
You can tell me both.
Both? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. My favorite part about first working at the AsianParent is that it's super dynamic. It's like you mentioned earlier, I am managing a huge team. It's actually the biggest team in the company. We are over 60 plus strong members across various countries, right? So Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam. And then I also have some content team members based in Mumbai, India, and even in Sri Lanka. So what I love is that I am surrounded by, smart, intelligent, creative people from all over the world, and I'm learning from them as much as they're learning from me. And at heart, I'm an editorial person, right? So I'm a creative person, and to be surrounded with brilliant minds bringing in various ideas to the table, it's always a learning experience, day to day. So that's one of the things that I really love about the Asian Parent. Also, the fact that we are helping moms, just like Moms Academy's vision is, right? Our vision really is to be, I wouldn't say your guide, but more like a partner in crime when it comes to parenting, right? For moms. Moms are especially, I would say one of the most insecure people out there. They have so many questions, so many concerns, so many, doubts about their capabilities as a parent. And so at the Asian Parent, we want to be there throughout their pregnancy and parenting journey, just validating maybe some of their doubts, right? Validating some of their beliefs, even let's say providing them with, well-researched insights into some of the major parenting questions that that they come across. For example, let's say is spanking really really bad for my toddler, right? How effective is spanking, or what other disciplinary methods should I employ? Us Asians, right? We we're very well known for being strict parents, right? Like here in the Philippines, oh, okay, let me get my slipper. Right? Or in Singapore, hey, let me get my cane, right? um, it's different, right? But it's not something that you read about in Western parenting guides, right? Or websites or
Mhm.
books. So that's why the Asian Parent was also built, because we want to give that Asian perspective, right? We understand what Asian parents are thinking and are going through. So yeah. So again, just to shorten shorten my answer, it's just that one, I learned a lot from a very highly creative team, and two, it's that we are helping a super hyper targeted audience, right? which is Asian parents. Now, what do I love about working in general? Um, Personally, it's empowering. I love the fact that I can afford to buy my own things and I can afford to provide for my family, um, for my kids, for our home, even for my spouse, and be able to, to get him a gift for Christmas, let's say, or for his birthday. Uh, I love that, I have my own personal income that can really help provide for my entire family and be able to help also like my mom, my siblings, right? So I it's empowering.
Thank
Having a job is empowering.
Thank you for sharing that. When I did the statistics, some research about this Working Moms Academy, what they said, 94% of women want financial independence. So that's why
Yeah.
it's really, the job, I think, as you said, the job gives you that financial independence to do what you want to do with your money, be it gift to your spouse, to your kids, or to your family. And also, I think it's also about the impact that you're making, not only to your family but also to Asian parents. And I love that concept. It's really kind of different. I mean, living in here in Dubai for quite a long time, I've seen many nationalities in terms of, they're really different parenting styles, right? And we
Mm,
Asians are totally different. And I was even telling my mom, mom, the way you parent me will not even work to my kids now. And
yeah.
I remember there was a time my husband spanked my daughter and she never forgave my husband for doing that. And it's
Mm,
only one time. So we need to have a lot of, techniques to get through that in terms of what happened. But that's really something. And that is really commendable. I'm very excited. I've seen the Asian Parent app and the website, and really there's so
mm,
much to learn. So I'm very, very
yeah.
happy. Thank you to Asian Parent for that. And also the next question, we had some discussion before this, but what are the challenges that you face all throughout the journey as a mother and as a being employed, and how did you overcome or deal with them?
Mm, okay. So I'm a mom of two, right? So my eldest is almost 8 years old. So 8 years ago, or I guess I would say maybe 9 years ago when I became pregnant, right? First time. Of course, you've got in-laws, you've got, you know, all these outsiders, right? Telling you, oh, I think it's best if you just leave work because you need to be more hands-on with your baby. Um, and I felt, I would say, offended. I was like, why do I have to leave work? So I actually just ignored it, right? I ignored all those comments, all the unwanted advice. Um, and I guess I was lucky also, and I am lucky that I have a very supportive husband, right? So he believes in the mantra, happy wife, happy life. So um, again, that was the obstacle. When I became pregnant, the expectation was you got to be hands on. We don't trust a nanny to care for your child, right? You should care for your child. And I just felt that if I do that, I lose a big part of myself, right? I have my personal dreams and ambitions. Um, and I felt that, at the time, I there was so much going on in my career, and I was so fulfilled as a working woman, right? Or even as a partner to my husband, again, right? Because of that financial independence, you know, I am able to support or help, support the household alongside him. So together we were providing for each other, right? So that was one, right? That was one obstacle, having to deal with those. And two, when finally I gave birth, then the obstacles I faced were at the workplace, right? So it's not just family and friends, but it's also at the workplace. I remember my former boss was telling me, "Oh, you're pregnant? How long are you gonna go for maternity leave?" So that was her biggest concern. Um, and I just felt, why? I need the maternity leave. I need to take care of my baby. I need to take care of myself so that when I get back to work, I'm in tip top shape, right? And I would have recuperated enough, to be able to go back to work. So that was, I get, another obstacle. But you know, being a woman, right? We face all these different types of, I would say, challenges, and we just, forge on, right? We have this fortitude that helps us to keep moving forward. And so um, that's what I did. I said, I'm going to prove to you that being a mom is not going to, impede me from doing my job and doing it excellently, right? And so that's what I did. I continued, and then, but you know, it's interesting though, right? That after a year with that company, I decided to leave, right? Because it doesn't mean that I gave up on the company. It's just that I think the company was just stuck in their ways, and as a mom now, I was looking for a company who is more supportive of parents, especially new parents or parents with young children, right? Because it's it's different. The needs are different. The needs of young children, they're just so much more demanding of your time, right? And if you don't have an employer, or if you're not with a company who understands your the stage that you're in, then it's going to be very difficult. So that's why I ended up, going to my LinkedIn. Then, maybe I should, update my profile now. And that was when I decided to go to LinkedIn, serendipitously, um, my CEO now, she had contacted me. So it felt like it was fate or serendipity. I would say that, we were meant to meet the moment that I had decided that I was ready for for a move, and she was ready to bring the Asian parent here and launch it here in the Philippines. So it was perfect timing.
That's very good. Thank you for sharing. So I think you know what struck me the most. Men should really believe that a happy wife is a happy life. I mean, it might sound cliche, but it's true, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think for those of us who are mothers, you can imagine, go back to that point in time when your mother was upset. How does your house look like? Right. So similarly for women, I think it's very important to make your husband understand that really a happy wife is a happy life. And as you said, I can imagine, when I gave birth, there's so many things I have to do based on what, a lot of people are telling me. And it's like, there's so much, I got overwhelmed. But what I love to say is that when you said, I want to prove to you that being a mom doesn't, I can do it all. And I think this is the objective of really, interviewing people like you, for people to understand that, you just have to stand in your own power. And that is when you
Mm-mm.
when you can really be. And as you said, the opportunities just open up for you. I think I
Yeah.
had the same experience. I always had fear also of, what will I do if I don't get the job? But really, when you surrender into something, that another thing comes to you by faith and by serendipity.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of mothers also, which leads me to the next question, a lot of mothers are afraid into stepping up to the managerial position because of, they said, I have so many things to do at home. And then I have to move to the, next managerial level. A lot of people, they said, mothers are not, they said less than 10 to 20% of women are in the executive management. And it's not because also of men, but also it's because of women being afraid to step up. So what is your tip, you think, to those moms who are afraid? What can you advise to them in terms of, having a managerial role and managing people?
Um, my gosh, when I was younger, I would say younger, just still a junior staff. I guess I had always been ambitious, right? That hey, I want, so I come from, my background is editorial, right? So I started out as an editorial assistant and moved up to become, an editor. But you know, I had set the bar high for myself that I want to become editor in chief of a magazine, right? But I also acknowledge that to get there, I need to learn all these, there are stages for me to learn, right? And one of that would be to acknowledge that I do need to learn people skills because I need to be able to, to coach. So, and mentor my team, right? Because of course, my job gets easier when I teach my team and coach them well so that they know how to do their jobs. Because if they don't know how to do their jobs, then we struggle as a team. Then maybe I'll end up doing the job for them, and that's not fair to me, and that's not fair to them. So for moms, right, I think it's ingrained in us to be nurturing. So you should hone that because being a manager is being a mentor and a coach, and you're nurturing the strengths of your team, right? You identify what is the strength of each member of my team. Let me leverage that. And then you identify also where, where they need to improve on, right? Where what their weaknesses are, and give them, and present to them a plan to address how they can improve and upskill themselves even, right? So if that's it, right? I think I can understand why individuals would you know would wouldn't want to be a manager because they don't want that kind of responsibility over others, right? Over other people. It's scary, right? To have, people dependent on you for your leadership, for your guidance, for your direction. But if you have great mentors yourselves, right? If you
Mm.
have a really good mentor and a really good manager yourself that you report to, and be open to this person. Hey, how do I approach this? Hey, can you give me advice, right? Regarding my team. I think that's where it starts. To become a really good manager, start with having one, a really good manager yourself, right? A mentor that you look up to. And then two, be ready to nurture that inner nurturer. I'm just repeating my words. Be a nurturer because that's what you'll be. You will be a nurturer to your team. Okay. So yeah, so those are two things. So if that you would need, I think that you would require, just basing it on my experience, to become a manager.
I think what to strike me the most when you said you're ambitious. I think some
Mm,
women, I think if you are ambitious enough, you will always strive to be better, right? And to go
mhm,
after what you want for. And as you said, I think it's two-way. If you want to grow, you have to grow and get people who can coach you. And at the same
mhm,
time, you'll be the person who's gonna be coaching others. And I
mhm,
want to, they said the best leaders are actually mothers.
mm,
So, because as you said, right, we are born nurturers. When you become a mother, you become a nurturing person by nature. So that is when you can leverage and really help people a lot. So for those who are, being anxious, I think the responsibility is there. But if you just be who you are, a natural born nurturer, then as you said, Carla, they will
Yeah.
shine, right? I think the next question for most mothers is, why how did you find the right career for you? Because a lot of moms, they're like, according to statistics, more than 60 or 70% of people are unhappy with their jobs. And how did you find, because I know you've been in this job for a long time, how did you find that editorial content creation is something that's really for you?
Um, Again, I would say it's because I knew my strengths and my weaknesses. Um, I knew since high school that I was very good with words, right? So I I'm not saying that it's too late for you, right? If you've graduated already, but I think the first step really is first, be honest with yourself. What are your strengths? What are you really good at? And leverage that. So if you're a great writer, or you're a great musician, or you're a very skilled, you're very skilled in math, you understand those concepts, then go for it, right? Go for it, and then look at the related professions, um, that complement your strengths. And that's what I did. I didn't want to be unhappy or unfulfilled at the end of the day by taking on a job that I wasn't good at, or I wasn't built for, I would say. So I knew that, I was good with words, I was good with writing and editing and, editorial related work. So that's why I looked at, okay, when I graduated from university, let me take a look at, some publishing houses. Are they hiring? And let me apply, right? I think that's it. Just be honest with yourself to identify what your strengths and weaknesses are, so that then you can uh, how do you say this, match, right? It's like a job match. Okay, I'm very good at this. Then what are some related occupations or professions that that would require the strength that I have? That's it.
That's very good. As they said, they call it ikigai. Japanese calls it the reason for being, right? And the
Mm,
concept of ikigai is really finding what is your core area of strengths and expertise, which you
mm,
elaborated. And I think that's also, I mean, for me, it took me some time to find my ikigai because I think, when I was studying, I wanted to be a nurse, but then I had to be in accountancy because that's the less costly. But then after being in accounting and auditing for so much, it's like there's something I want to do. And I think it's really about finding what are you good at, what are your strengths and weaknesses, and how can you capitalize on that also. I know previously before this, we had a discussion that at some point you left corporate to take care of your children. Can you just, because, I think there's a lot of, when I left corporate for 2.5 years to take care of my young children, I was very scared because I was, leaving the 16-year
yeah,
plus career behind. And then I don't know if there's a job waiting for me. Can you share a bit
yeah,
of your experience? Because I just want to mothers to understand that my belief personally is that the career is always there waiting for you, but the age of your kids cannot be returned. So if you feel you need to leave corporate to take care of them, then do it, because there's always the right job. Like for you and me, that's how, I mean, it happened, right? So I just want us to have some stories of how did you make that decision and how did you successfully came back.
yeah. Yeah. So at the Asian Parent, right? I think after 2 years with them, I had, I got pregnant the second time around, and then when I gave birth, you know, um, I felt that I had missed out on a lot of major milestones, especially with my firstborn. Because, like I said earlier, right, I still forged on. Now I'm going to prove to you that I can, be a working mom. It's not going to be a problem for me. But of course, at the back of my the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh shoot, here's my nanny sending me a video of my child taking her first steps, or crawling for the first time, achieving these milestones that I was not able to witness personally. right? So I just had to, suck it up, right? Well, that's the choice I made with my firstborn. But when my secondborn came along, I felt at the time, also financially as a family, like my husband and I, um, we discussed it because I asked him, how do you feel about me, leaving my job? And at the time, he said that I think we're okay. I think I can support us, right? Financially. So of course I had to make sure first that I could let go of my job, that we would be okay, right? Because we were codependent, right? It's not like he's the only sole breadwinner or I am the sole breadwinner. So, um, so I had to ask him first, can I quit, right? So that I can be a full-time mom to our kids. Of course, that made him happy, right? Made him happy. Yes, of course, be full-time mom to our children. And yes, of course, I can support us, right? So so that was one of the main reasons I felt that, okay, uh, I think, I've been working so many years now. I've logged in the hours as a working woman. I think now I would like to log in the hours as a full-time mom, right? So I wanted to put on the full-time mom hat. Um, so that was one of the main reasons. And then another reason I also, and it's also related. Another reason I also decided to quit was at the time the company was also looking at, you know, aggressive expansion. I was already handling four markets, so that was Singapore, Philippines, Thailand, and we launched in India. And then they were also now planning to launch in officially in Indonesia, also looking into Malaysia, and then all these other new markets at the time. This was back in 2015, 2016. I recognized that my mindset at the time wasn't aligned with the company's direction. So I wanted to be respectful enough, right? And acknowledge that and tell them that, okay, right now I can't join you on this journey because I want to forge this separate path, right? Which is for my family. So that's why I resigned from the Asian parent after 2 years with them. So I guess that was that 2015 or 2016. Anyway, it was 2 years after I joined them. I decided to resign. Um, but it didn't last. So that's why I joke around and say, "Oh, it was just a sabbatical." So not even a year, right? I was getting antsy. I was getting bored. I think it was just 7 months in or 8 months in, and I was already messaging our CEO, "Hey, if there's any freelance work that you think that I can take on, please feel free to get in touch with me." Um, and after I left, right, I was doing some odd freelance work, editing some books, doing being a consultant for a wine company, as their communications manager, right? But it wasn't fulfilling because I missed my team. I missed managing a team, being part of a team, working together and building something together, right? So I missed being part, yeah, that's it. I missed being part of a team. And so that's why I reached out to the CEO and said, if you have any freelance work, let me know. And she did message right away. But then maybe I think a few weeks later, she said, hey, I may have something for you. We're building, we built this new app and I need a community manager for this app. So it's a freelance job. If you're open to it, it's yours. And so I said, sure, because at least it's still work from home. I don't have to go to the office. It's work from home. I can still spend, physical time with my kids and even with my husband, and still be able to, to do something, right? Be part of a company and earn, my own income, my own salary. And then it's funny, not even a year after I came back to the company as a freelancer, I became a full timer because the woman that they had hired to replace me when I left as regional head of content also gave birth and was on maternity leave and didn't want to leave her child at home. So the CEO found an opportunity. It's okay. I have my former regional head of content already here with me. I might as well just reactivate her, right? And put her in this position. And so here we are, 5 years later. I'm back at it, and I haven't looked back, and always looking forward, right, with the company. So it's been a wild ride.
It's a very exciting journey, but I think there's many similarities for both of us. I mean, when I left corporate, at least for you, it lasted 8 months, right? Until you felt so bored. For me, it was only three
Yeah.
months. In 3 months, I was like, oh, wait. I sent a message to my former boss and said, if there's a freelancing job for me, I think that's another strategy that, mothers can do. If you want to leave your job, fine. But if there's also a freelancing opportunity for you to work with your company, that's another
Yeah.
arrangement, because the good thing is that
Yeah.
your company already knows your strengths and they're
Yep.
ready to get you on track. But it's about managing, really, negotiating the time and the
Yeah.
availability.
Yeah.
And it always works. So it worked for me. It worked for, I know it will work for many mothers. So
Mm.
if we have done it, I know they can do it. I think it's a
Yeah.
conversation you need to have, right? With the people, especially with your managers. They know who you are. They know what you can do. And it's always easy to negotiate a freelancing opportunity. And then when the time
Yeah.
comes, again, the opportunity will
Yeah.
come wait
Yeah.
for you.
I mean, I believe in, in this, when they say don't burn bridges, right?
Mm,
Just because you're leaving, you're resigning, it doesn't mean that it's goodbye forever. There are still opportunities that you could, work with your former company, right? Especially, for example, yeah, you leave, but then you kind of have regrets of leaving. So, you know, um, don't be shy. Reach out and say, hey, I'm open to freelance work if you're looking. um, of course, I regret that it didn't work out, that you needed me full time but I couldn't commit full time, but I can commit as a freelancer or as a consultant. So if you have opportunities like that, then I'd be happy to take them on, right? So yeah, so just reach out, and again, try not to burn bridges, because how do they say it in the Philippines, right? The world is round.
true, true.
Things loop back. Things loop back.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes, never burn bridges, and remember, it's our life is moving, right? So you'll never know where you
Yeah,
are. So I think,
yeah.
let me move to the next question. Let's talk about more about family and career. I mean, how do you manage, because I know nobody can be a wife and a mother to your children, but how do you manage your time? I mean, how do
Mm,
you manage everything in between?
yeah.
Can you give us some
Um,
tips?
I think one of the things that I should clarify is that I do work from home, right? So even if like right now with the pandemic and the quarantine in place here in the Philippines, even before then, I had negotiated, right, to work from home, because I was handling, the regional team. It wasn't like I was only managing the Philippine team. So, and the CEO is like, Yeah, sure. It's really results driven anyway. I don't care where you are, as long as online you are available and you are reachable and you are bringing in results, right? So I was fortunate enough to have been able to get that kind of work arrangement, right? So that's why I'm able to drive my kids to school, bring them to to their classes, bring them shopping, and I'm their personal chauffeur, right? So that's one thing that I wanted to clarify also. That's why I'm able to balance my time at work and with family, because I was able to negotiate for a work from home situation. And we do have an office here in the Philippines, in Manila, where I'm based. Um, and so just to touch base and align with the local team here in the Philippines, yeah, I go there every Monday just to say, okay, hey, hi, hello, right? I'm here. Let's talk about some fires. Let's update each other, right? But the rest of the week, I'm working from home. I have my laptop. I just have to make sure that I'm online, right? That I'm present online. Um, but let's say I had to go to the office, right? And there are many days pre-quarantine, pre-pandemic, when yeah, I go to the office, but I also attended a lot of events, right? So I'm also away from home a lot because of all these events and meetings that I attend here locally. I think it's just a matter of finding a schedule, right? Knowing that, okay, my kids are going to be in school from 9 to 12, or the second child gets out at 2:30. So then, you work around that schedule, right? Your family schedule. So that's what I do. I work around my family schedule. I don't make my family work around my schedule unless I need to, right? I need them to. So I love the fact that I am like I said earlier, my children's chauffeur, so that I'm there with them, right? Even in the smallest of ways, I'm still there with them. I'm still present. And I think mothers, don't forget that kids value that, even the smallest of ways. Whether you're the one they're watching you preparing their snacks that they'll bring to school, they'll appreciate that. They'll love you for it. Or whether you're the one, yeah, driving them to school or picking them up and seeing your face, once they get out of class, they love that. They'll love you for that. So I've, you know, I've I acknowledge that. I've taught myself to acknowledge that. That's one of the ways I deal with the mom guilt, right? That I had experienced, especially right when I was saying earlier that I quit my job because of mom guilt, right? That I missed all these milestones. So I don't want to miss the milestones with my second child. But yeah, of course, we're just talking about my kids. Now, how about my spouse, my husband, right? Of course, moms, right? you got you just really gotta make the time for your spouse. My husband and I, we make sure that weekends are our time, especially Sunday, right? Hey, let's do something, whether it's just kicking back at home, me watching him play video games, and then, oh, let me get some beers, right? Even though, and then I'm reading my book and we're together and just chatting. Or like, for example, now during, this pandemic, this quarantine, you know, at night we just make sure that, hey, let's watch maybe an episode on Netflix, before I fall asleep. you know so it's just finding pockets of time to spend together, and to catch up with each other, because he's also a workaholic, I'm a workaholic. So it's very important that, okay, let's add to our daily routine a specific time where we can just kick back and relax together. I think that's very important.
I love that. Where you said, your work, I mean your family should not, I mean your schedule should match with your family, not the other way around. Because I think a lot
Mm.
of a lot of women's moms struggle because they're doing the other way around. But I think, yeah, you are correct. It's not also about being always there, but being present in small pockets of time. That's
Mm.
very nice. I hope I'm learning a lot. Thank you, Cara, for I hope the other mothers are learning a lot also. And I know the husband really don't need a lot of time, but a dedicated small time, right?
Mm.
Which is very good. And kids as well, they don't need you to be there 24/7, but knowing that you are available, doing small
Yeah.
things with them really makes a lot of difference. Oh, I like
Yeah.
that. Okay, let me move to the next question. What's the biggest challenge or sacrifice you had to make? That sometime you want just to make a decision. I just want to be a typical mother. Did you have those moments?
Mm. Oh, like when I sacrifice the needs of my family. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, or anything that when you felt that you had to
Just
give up something, what did you sacrifice for and why?
um that's a hard question because the biggest sacrifice I ever made was actually pre-marriage, you know. So I've as a mom, I've made it a point that I don't deprive myself. I don't deprive my kids, and I don't deprive my husband, and our entire family of, of being happy, right? Of doing things and having things that make us happy. I always encourage that if they have dreams or goals, okay, let's see, let's go for it. Let's see how far we can go to achieve those goals. So when I said that, the biggest sacrifice I made actually was before I got married was when I was in university. I had a plan. I had a plan of, going abroad, working abroad, joining a program that would allow me to go to leave this country, to leave the Philippines, and find find a life outside of the country, right? Elsewhere. Because I actually, just to share, I grew up abroad, and then I
Oh,
went back. Like half my growing up years was abroad. I was a UN brat. My mother worked for the United Nations, and we were moving country to country. So I wanted to continue that, right? I wanted to be able to also move country to country and experience, all these different cultures and living in different, in different countries, right? So in university, that was my plan. But I fell in love, fell in love, and I didn't want to let go. So I decided, okay, I think I can still make a wonderful life here in the Philippines because I found my true partner. And we've been together since university, no breaks in between. So I
wow.
guess that's proof enough to say that, yeah, I the sacrifice actually wasn't so much of a sacrifice because I
I
have
think
this beautiful life with
ah,
my husband and our kids. So
yeah, I think what I remember most when you said, you never deprive yourself. I think
mm,
I think the other struggle of other mothers is, we tend to be a giver. We give our
yeah,
husband, we give our kids, we give our, but then we tend to forget ourselves. But as you
yeah,
said, you should never deprive yourself. You give yourself that happiness that you also deserve. Then everybody was gonna be going to be happy. Wow,
yeah.
that's very nice. Okay, we're almost in the end of the
Okay.
interview. Just two questions. What do you think is your advice to other working moms who are currently, forging their paths and their career alongside motherhood?
Okay. Don't be afraid. Just, you know, try it. If you like it, keep doing it. If you don't, then move on, right? It's don't let anyone judge you for, jumping ship to ship. Because again, if this is, let's say this is the first time that you're embarking on your career journey, it's de rigueur, really, to jump ship to, from ship to ship because you're trying to find that specific path for you and you're learning, right?
True.
From various sources, from various companies, various employers, various colleagues. So don't be afraid to try out different things. until, to test, and taste different flavors, right? Until you found that right flavor for you. Um, and definitely, like I said, acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses. I think that's very, very important, especially if you're looking for something really long term, because you want to, when you're really strong at something, when you're really good at something, it's very fulfilling, especially when you get paid for it, right? When you get rewarded for what you're
True.
good at, right?
Mm.
And it's very empowering. So find that, be honest with yourself, and acknowledge what am I good at and what do I need to work on.
That's very good. Test and taste different flavors.
Yeah.
I like that. I think, yeah, I think the problem also something with the culture. I mean, in the Philippines, right? If you're graduate of something, they expect you to be like that only. But
Mm,
I mean, the current environment where we now operate gives you that opportunity now. I mean, during my age, if you graduate of accountancy, you can only be an accountant or auditor. But I think now
yeah,
people are more open-minded, right? Where you can
yeah,
really be who you want to be. So as you said,
yeah,
knowing yourself and being honest and following that path,
yeah.
testing and tasting those flavors that's best for you is really the best
Mm,
path.
mm.
Okay, last question. What are your three tips for any person to succeed both personally and professionally?
Um, so I'll repeat myself. Tip
Okay.
number one would be, yeah, know your strengths and weaknesses,
Mm-hmm,
acknowledge
mm-hmm.
those professionally and even, in your private life, right? That's why it's always, I do believe in finding someone who complements you. Um, my weaknesses are his strengths, his weaknesses are my strengths, and then together we're much stronger. Right? So same thing at the work at the workplace. Um, when you're finding, let's say you're a manager and you're looking to hire and build up a team, acknowledge what exactly you need. What are the skill sets, right, that you want to fill? And that's how I choose, actually, right? Don't I would say don't be discouraged or intimidated when you find someone who seems to be smarter than you. No, hire that person. Have smarter people surrounding you because you will learn from them, right? And then you build up your own career profile once you've learned from them. Which brings me to my next tip, right? Which is be open to learning. So that means, be humble. Be humble that you don't know everything. You don't know
True.
everything. Hence, surround yourself with smarter people who will show you the ropes. And then, last tip, don't forget to find the fun in it, right? That's it. If you don't find it fun and fulfilling, then why are you doing it? You're not gonna last, and it will reflect in your output, in your performance. So yeah, find the fun that will make it very fulfilling for you. So I guess those are the three tips that I have.
I think those are very simple, but it's very true also. I mean,
Mm,
knowing yourself, as Aristotle said, is the beginning of all wisdom, right? And opening yourself to learning is something that can, if you're like a sponge who's ready to absorb a lot of learning, that's the best way to grow. And find
yeah,
the fun. As you said, right? They said you need to find your compass of joy.
yeah.
Because that is where your ikigai is actually. It's the intersection of what you are good at and what can you be paid for and what you're having
Mhm,
fun with. So thank you very much, Carla, I
mhm.
learned a lot today. Is there anything do you want to promote something for the Asian parent?
Sure, of course, of course. Thank you for allowing me to promote the Asian parent. So, but first, I want to say thank you, Coach Wanda, for this opportunity to share my story and share some of the learnings that I was able to, I guess I would say, collect throughout my career journey, and my parenting journey as well. So, but with that in mind, please, if you're a mom, do download the Asian Parent app. It's a great app for the mom community. I mean, it has very useful tools, especially if you're pregnant or you have young kids, because we have a pregnancy tracker and a baby tracker there. But we also have a very active mommy community on the app. So if you have any questions, you need advice, recommendations, should I buy this pump or should I buy that stroller? Or my husband has a mistress, I think, what should I do, right? This community is there to support you and to share, their experiences so that you can learn from their experiences. So please install, download the Asian Parent app. So thank you, Coach Wanda, for allowing me to promote
Thank you, thank you.
the
It's
Asian
actually
Parent.
it's an honor. I just downloaded the app and let me start using it. I'm very excited. I think the best thing about this, you know what I learned about parenting, being a mom. At sometimes, as you said, moms are the most insecure person, right?
Mm,
But when you become a part of the community, then you become, you feel sane, knowing that you are not alone in the journey. You knowing
exactly,
that there's a safe
exactly.
community, you can always ask questions. So I'm
Yeah.
very much excited. For those of you, please download the Asian Parent app. I know you're going to learn a lot. They got a lot of articles and there's so much to learn. And thank you again so much, Carla, for being here.
Thanks, Coach Wanda.
Have a great day, everybody. For those of you, if you enjoyed watching this YouTube recording, or if you're listening through our podcast, I would love to, encourage you to share to other moms so they can be inspired by Carla's story. Would like to thank you for listening. Have a great day, everybody.